There we go. Oh, and there's Sue. Welcome, Sue.
Hello, how are
Hello.
you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, great, Carla, but busy. But that's okay. That's a good problem to have.
Yes. And Sue's from Victoria. So we have people from all over the place here today. So let's do some brief introductions to start with, and then let's dive into the questions and see where people are going. And share any wins you have, by the way, especially in regards to speaking, because this is a great. Sometimes it's lonely to be in there all out there by yourself, and it's nice to have people who understand what it's like out there to give you some acknowledgement for that. So I'll start because it's my bright idea for doing these little exchanges. So Carla Rieger, today here I'm in beautiful Vancouver, and it's a beautiful cloudy day here. And a win for me is that I'm on Infusionsoft. I'm switching over from One Choppy Cart to Infusionsoft. I'm learning all about it, and I have a person who's very good at it helping me, and I'm very happy about that. So that's my little win. So, and that's my web person, by the way. I'm not going to answer it, but my site's been down. So if any of you have been trying to get into the portal, it's just down today. So he's fixing it, and hopefully he's calling right now to say it's fixed now. Hey, Kathy, welcome. Can you hear us, Kathy? Kathy Chiva? Yes?
There we go.
Oh, there she is. Okay, good. Hi,
Are you looking for my audio?
Yes, we were just making sure you were there. We're just going around and doing introductions. So let's start with, who would like to start? I'll just let whoever feels like they want to go first, go first. So we're sharing just, your name, and try your offer as well, what you offer and to whom you offer it, and just any recent wins that you want to share.
Well, I'll always go first. You know me.
All right.
I'm Sue Ferreira. I have a program, Live Your Retirement Dream, where I show anyone really. In fact, I'm getting the best results out of kids in their 20s who appreciate what the web will do for them. And I basically take folks and take them from that one-on-one world to 1 to 6 billion and increasing to 7 billion by taking their knowledge, skills, gifts, and putting them out to the world at general so they can create passive income for their later years. So that's me. Recent wins are a lot of clients coming in, and also since we talked, Carla, I've been looking at TEDx's, and I'm hoping to do the application today for a TEDx in September. It seems to kind of drop off during the summer and then picks up in September. So that's me.
That's great. And by the way, for any of you other people interested in doing a TEDx, you can go to the TED.com site, or you just type in, how do I find a TEDx event? And it'll bring up this site, if you haven't already checked it out, to see all the different TEDx's. And there might be one in your area, because that's going to be amazing free publicity for you and helping you be seen as even more of an expert in your niche. And I love your background there. See, people come to Sue's place and they get on the green screen and they get on camera, and it's great.
It's been a busy week of videoing. On the side, I help people create videos, and I rent out my studio. So, I can put the cameras up and I can sit them in the chair and get the angles right, and then I can go off and do something else. In fact, someone was videoing while I was talking with you a couple of days ago, and it's really good. So they can just, get on and get a good quality video in my, well, I guess it's second bedroom stroke video studio.
Nice. And I notice you have this thing across it says your name and what you do, this little banner. How did you create that? Because maybe others of us would
go to, on the side of the Hangout here, you go to one of these. It's the lower third. Let me see if I can remember where it is. I'll find it, and I will come back later and show you where it is. It's one of these little clickies. Oh, here we are. You go to the person on the side of your Hangout stuff. You click the first one, the one on the left, which is, you know, just a silhouette of a person. And then you will get the option coming up to put in what's known as a lower third. You can put in your logo, put in your website, your name, whatever you want to do, and up it comes. My only warning is, because Google, like Facebook, keeps changing stuff, you might find that you've actually got it up, and then they do something, and the next time you go to a Google Hangout, it's not there anymore. But you can always just revamp it in a couple of seconds, and you can customize everything and do it that way.
Well, it's brilliant because we're remembering your name. We got the little image. We have your tagline. It's very good. I like it.
Yeah, it's really useful. I do quite a lot of Google Hangouts, and so, you know, when you're meeting a lot of other folks, it's just a great way of as you say, identifying yourself.
It helps us remember you and refer you very well. Yeah. Yeah, good. Good tip for everyone else. Okay, thanks. Who'd like to go next? Deb, your face came up.
I'll go. I'm Deb Connors, and I work with leaders on creating better, healthier, more positive work cultures. So I do that through my keynotes, workshops, consulting, coaching, and I'm working on a book. And my win for this week is finding an amazing person to build my website. I've been through a number of different people, and this woman is out on the East Coast in Halifax. She's very reasonable. She's just amazing and so quick, and I expect that I'll have my new website launched within about 2 weeks, so that's exciting.
That's very exciting
for you.
Yeah. And her name, it's Wind Rose Web Design. If anybody's looking, she's just fabulous. Wind Rose Web Design, and it's Raina Noel is her name.
Okay, nice. And welcome to the call, Jana.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. We're just going around and doing intros and sort of your offer, your audience, and any wins that you care to share. So way to go, Deb, on getting your website out there. We all know how much work that is. And so finally getting it out there and all the wording, and it's quite an internal and external process to go through. So way to go. All right, and you two, Sue and Deb, you're both on Vancouver Island, so just in case.
Yes, but I feel sorry for you on the North Shore in Vancouver because it's sunny here.
It is sunny. It is sunny here. Good. Okay, who's next? Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next. This is Betty Ann Leesburg-Lang of Talking Well Consulting. I work with internationals to reduce their accents so their communication is clearer and keep enough accent so they can keep their culture. And I love doing it. And it's just delicious. It's so much fun. And my win is one of my colleagues that I trained has just asked me to write a book with her.
Yes.
So I'm very, very pleased about that. She is more organized than I am, and I have more information than she does. So I think it's going to be a very excellent collaboration. And so I'm really pleased about that. Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah, I'm a big believer in joint venturing. I know Sue's doing some joint venturing. It's a way to get out there bigger, faster, better. You just have to pick the right people and, as you say, have complementary skills. That's excellent. Good. Who's next?
I'll go next, Carla.
Denise.
Yeah, my name's Denise Cunningham, and I'm in White Rock, BC, and I work predominantly with women who have had breast cancer, finished their treatments, and coming out the other side, and I help them piece their life back together and decide where they're going from there. So it's I'm in the midst of getting my website up. It's going to be called Manifesting Miracles. And predominantly I work from a Course in Miracles perspective, actually, where if we can shift the perceptions about the things that have happened in our lives, we really can transform our lives. So big win for me is I haven't been on the speaking circuit for about 3 years now, and I went and did a talk, not last weekend, but the weekend before, and it felt really good about what transformed there. And yeah, I author a book as well called Whispers of Hope, and was able to sell several copies of my book at the event as well as get paid for it, so it was a win-win.
Oh, great. So you've been a paid and a platform speaker at the same time. That's very good. Good for you.
Thank you.
I love that name, Manifesting Miracles. It's got, you know why that title is good in so many ways? Because it has that alliteration, Manifesting Miracles. It's short. It affects the instinctual brain. It's like it's very active. So all those good things in the title. So well done.
Cool. Thank you.
Good. Who's next?
I'll go.
Well,
okay, Kathy.
oh, no, which one? Yeah, okay, I'll go.
You, Kathy.
Okay,
Kathy.
I actually was hesitating because, as usual, I'm like pulled in a couple of different directions. But basically, okay, I'm Kathy Chiba, and I help connect people to the solutions that work best for them, and it's generally technologies and solutions. The thing, I have a business called Doratus, which is a research firm, and I do a lot of technology and patent research, and I'm shifting that in order to do more sort of technology engagement in the sense of, you know, technology, a lot of times it's not the case that you have technology, you know, that a technology is neutral. You have to connect it to your own personal tastes and the way you work. And the other thing is I'm also working on helping people who feel like freaks get out there and be brilliant anyway.
All right. How many
Yeah.
people feel like freaks occasionally? That sounds good.
Yeah. And as far as recent wins go, well, right now I'm a little distracted because I'm in the middle of creating a proposal for it's a technology blog engagement kind of a project. I got contacted because of a review I'd done it's basically a patent research platform last year, and the feedback from it has been generally good, saying, wow, that was really insightful, that was great. And it was written from a perspective of the human aspect of connecting to a service provider. And so I got good feedback on it, and I actually got contacted by a company that's interested in having me both, initially it was blogging, but also it was more along the line, well, we've developed it into a project where we're going to try and enhance the engagement with the blog and the company, because right now it's kind of one of those things where they have just people posting and, you know, like a company posting that doesn't necessarily connect with the audience.
Right.
So there's that. And, and I just, but a couple of weeks ago, I came back from something called Heroic Public Speaking, and it was awesome.
Wow.
I met a lot of neat connections, actually, so there's a lot of interesting people. So.
Okay, great. And yeah, that whole piece on engagement with technology is huge. Like there's a big sort of wave of experts coming out about that because it's a topic people are hungry for. So there's something to keep in mind.
Okay.
Good choice.
And they're also hungry for other people to do it for them. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have added that I mentioned this to Carla earlier, but in fact what I'm doing for my association next month, mid-next month, is that I'm actually doing a workshop on doing webinars, but from the perspective of, you know, sort of like you can still do it wrong and still get it right. You know.
Oh, that's a good title.
That's a good slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it, you know, so demystifying it a little bit, getting past the technology and engaging anyway.
Great, great. Lots of people need that. Especially lots of people who are teachers and experts aren't necessarily the tech types, as Sue was saying.
Yeah.
Good. Good. All right. So who haven't we heard from yet? We haven't heard from Jana, Linda, or Nathan. So who'd like to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll go. Okay.
Go, Jana.
All right, I'll go. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Jana Lynn White. I'm a writer, producer, and voiceover talent, and a big vision coach. And my recent wins are getting some media training for big vision coaching with somebody who is an environmentalist and a really passionate writer. And I'm working on my website and getting it up. And all of a sudden, all the things that I was languishing about, I'm doing now, which means I'm behind in so many things. That's why I love what you just said. You can do it wrong and still get it right, because I felt that was like a mantra for me lately.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not spinning my wheels. I'm getting things done, but that suddenly there's just so much in my world to take care of in practical terms. And last night, with my new spring Get Fit thing, I was working in the gym for the 3rd time in a week, which I felt was good, and I dropped a 35-pound weight on my foot. So if I have like a pain on my face, I just want you to know I am in pain, and it's pretty crazy that happened, because I have a dog that requires me walking him, so it's a pretty funny morning this morning for me. But things are good in terms of moving forward on the deeper declarations I made about who I can serve, and that's great.
Yeah, your whole statement is much clearer and stronger. And for those of us who are working on it, I know sometimes it's like polishing a diamond, just kind of getting it down to that right thing that sparks people. So good. I love it. All right, Linda, do you want to go next?
Yes, I'm having so much fun with technology here. Been kicked off a number of times. But can everybody see me? I'm going in slow motion. But my name is Linda. My name is Linda Raymond. I'm founder and CEO of On Point Health. I help breast cancer survivors to live fearlessly, reclaim, renew, and thrive with their second chance life. My sort of aha is that finding the correct network to network in is very essential to the progression of your business, mine in particular. Thing with a plus, especially getting to know some of the members. And then I sort of stepped outside the door, and demographics, I thought, so I've learned that when you do your demographics and you find out who your target market is, that's where the focus, laser focus.
Did you say narrowing your demographic has helped?
Well, a year ago, I did my demographics. I'm one of those perfectionists. So now I'm an imperfection, and I don't work, back work, front work, and instead of just stepping out and saying, okay, work with what I have, because I have all I need. For a second, you go in this direction with, so several months of that is not panning out, so I decided to follow my this week. I want to work I do. So the going back into the medical field arena, building rapport against with like oncology.
Okay. I heard the majority of that, but you were going in and out, so I think we didn't totally hear everything. But I also wanted to mention that Linda, she disappeared. Bummer. She's a dancer. She comes from, as she calls her business, On Point. She was a professional dancer.
Wow.
She has all these beautiful pictures. Some of us have had such interesting past lives. And
in one lifetime, too.
Yeah. So, she's back again. Hey, Linda, sorry you're having tech problems. Anyways, we'll come back to you if your tech works out. Let's hear from Nathan.
Yeah. Okay, well, hey, Kat.
You're our only boy today.
Yeah. Representing all the testosterone in the Western Hemisphere.
And ably so.
Well, I'm not going to touch that. So I'll be honest and say that the reason for getting on the call is because I'm Carla's #1 fan, and I continue to struggle. I took Carla's program last summer, and I appreciate the image that you shared, Carla, of polishing the diamond. I continue to polish the diamond, and it's not my perfectionist stuff. The challenge that I continue to feel is that for those of you who don't know me, I'm a professional musician, have been one for 41 years, and so my desire is to figure out how to be of service to people in the speaking world. And I'm crawling forward ever so slowly. I've listened to speakers in the States and in Canada, been inspired by millions of people, and I still feel like I haven't found my groove. My latest thinking is the latest version of my keynote is playing in tune, because the two things that I'm most excited about are being fully alive in the present and feeling connected to others. And so that's what my keynote is now about. Who my target audience is, I have no idea. I had my latest win, I guess, is I just read a fantastic book which lit me on fire. Edwene Gaines' The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And I just very much like what she said. She said it very succinctly and very well. And as I was reading it, I got this brainstorm based on something that just happened to me. Every year around this time, I go to an event in Florida called the Positive Music Festival, where a number of, what was your word, Kathy? A number of freaks like me and celebrate each other's friendship and share what we do to the people that love and appreciate what we do. And of course, my job is to figure out how to translate that into the wide world. So the brainstorm that I got as I was reading Edwene's book is there's something called Concert Window. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but Concert Window is a service which enables you to broadcast a concert from anywhere. All you need is an internet connection. They take a portion of the proceeds, but basically you can open your laptop anywhere and perform. I've done some of those, and my new thought is based on something that someone said to me at this festival in Florida, was that I will do some sort of a weekly event where I will get online and I will be speaking from this place. I very much want music and connection in my life. Those are my 2 core values. That's my why, as you would say, Carla. And so I'm looking for other people who have that, who share that why with me. And so the thinking is that the hour would be a combination of inspiring words and music, and I think a weekly guest would be good too, just to inspire people that way. I need to find my audience, and that just seems like a good way to jump in the water and find them.
Absolutely, that's a great idea.
So that's me in the shell of a nut, a friend of mine would say.
Mm-hmm. And just so everyone knows, Nathan is a masterful musician who can play anything and several instruments, and is an amazing singer, and is incredibly funny. So, plus inspiring. So I think that's brilliant, and that's why the online world is so great for any of us, is to just get online And even if only one person shows up, it's going to force you to continue to get your message out, and then you'll slowly build, and you can be building, of course, people from all over the world, not as opposed to live presentations. So as Sue also says, you know, really getting yourself in front of the other 7 billion people on the planet. 4 billion of whom now have, you know, mobile devices or something to connect to you. So that's a brilliant idea. Just force yourself to get out there regularly, and they'll come to you. And then, because sometimes, that's what I found. I went after a certain market when I first started out and wasn't connecting, but then I noticed these people from over here were wanting to work with me, and I'm like, oh, maybe you're my market. You know, like, I don't know if anyone said that experience, and then you're like, oh, okay, these people are attracted to me, I'll just serve them, and then it can take off from there. So sometimes you have to kind of put stuff out in the world first.
Yeah.
Can I just come back for a second too? I was going to post some neat. I'm a techie geek, so I was going to post later in the Facebook some techie stuff. But Nathan, have you? I mean, if you're going to do a weekly gig and live cast it, are you going to screen record everything you do? Because then you've got a video that you can repurpose again.
I would love to be able to do that, Sue, and Concert Window doesn't allow you to do that.
You don't have. What do you mean? That's because of their restrictions?
Yeah. In other words, they don't keep archives of what they do. They produce I don't know.
But you don't have to. You screen record it, and as long as they don't have any problems with copyright, you've got it on your computer. If you want, just email me, and I can show you how.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah, I'll connect you up.
Okay. Thanks, Carl.
Yeah. And Nathan, I can also share with you that I'm doing some research on various tech options as well, so I can share with you what I'll end up with for this workshop I'm developing. I've been looking at a number of options for various kinds of webinars, and there's a few new ones that actually seem kind of interesting, so I'll share that too.
I really appreciate the both of you saying that. I mean, Concert Window is easy, and they take a percentage. I don't even know what percentage. So if I could eliminate that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, there's something that I'm looking at. Yeah.
Didn't hear that, Sue.
I didn't hear that either.
Oh. I also just wanted to welcome Edri to the call. She came in a bit later. So let's just introduce Edri, and then let's talk questions and comments and stuff like that. So Edri, are you there? She's from the Seattle area. Oh, she just disappeared. Okay. So yeah, let's open the floor for questions and comments. Go for it.
I'd like to say something to Nathan. I'd like to connect with you directly and give you some feedback, maybe not on this call, but in regard to what you're putting out there in music, because I worked as a music journalist for a long time, and I know in much music and much more music, and you know, music is the thing that ends our isolation or our sense of isolation when we collectively listen to music, and I also like the idea that we're all freaks on this planet, because we're all having, you know, this unlimited spirit is housed in this limited physical being, and so, you know, there's always trying to connect those dots is challenging for everybody in these times. But I just want to say that healing comes through music, and with the kind of intention that you have and some of the feedback I'd like to give you about some of the delivery systems I think you can use with new technology and creating community that way, so that you can feel alive in the present moment and be connected, because that's what music automatically does, is make us feel alive in this present moment and feel connected to one another. So I just want to say that I think you're on the right track. I want to give you a lot of good feedback that your intention is right for the time. And with your friend here, Kathy, that can help you with the technology, I really feel that it's important, because it really does end that sense of isolation that I think technology actually does produce in some ways. You know, it connects us, but it also isolates us. So,
yeah.
Bless your cotton socks.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing up your frustration about that, because I think we all have those areas of frustration, and it's sometimes hard to put that out to a group, but that's what this group's for, is kind of saying, this is where I'm stuck. And we can give each other some ideas, like we just did with Nathan. So thanks for all that, everybody.
Thanks, Jenna.
Yeah, so who has, let's just, Edri, are you there? You came back. Edri? Oh, she only has her, we only see your picture, we can't hear you.
What a tease she is.
Anyways, you can chat, you can put things in the chat too. If anyone has ideas for anybody, if you don't know how to do the chat, it's in the lower right hand corner. You can write ideas, or you can put your email address in, or links to things, anything you want there. So anyways, if we hear from you, Edri, we'll introduce you. Otherwise, we'll keep going with questions or comments or insights or issues that you have, that even if you don't think anyone would have an idea for you, just put it out.
Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Edri? Linda.
Oh, this is Linda.
Great.
I have challenges with Google Hangout. This is the first time I've used it, and it keeps knocking me into sleep and dreaming. And this is, you know, I have infinity, so I have, this is off of wireless network. And anybody have any ideas? I don't know what's going on.
It helps to get an Ethernet cable connection if you have one, and it helps to close everything else down on your computer. So I know that's one thing that helps. Any other tips from our techie geeks amongst us?
I'd confirm that you should shut down as much as you can, because I often have way too many things running at one time. So,
yeah, and then
really
Google,
affect it.
Yeah, and Google Hangouts will then pause and crack. What computer are you on, Linda?
I have Infinity or Comcast, so I have my house on the laptop and not on the main computer. And nothing, I have shut everything down, and so I can't figure out what else to do. I've shut everything down, and the only thing I have up is the Google Hangout that we're on here.
Have you turned off your computer and turned it on again? I always do that before I start, because sometimes things just don't quite shut down.
Me too.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't. After it was acting up, no, I didn't shut it completely down. I just closed everything out.
Yeah. I'm just gonna
try a restart.
Yeah. I've just noticed something. Because I'm not, you know, like if you take, at least in the Mac interface, and I assume it's the same because it's the web browser, if you move your cursor up near the top of the screen, you'll actually see these little
icons,
little rectangles. Yeah, these icons pop up, and there are things like options like mute microphone, turn camera off, but one of them is adjust bandwidth.
Yeah.
Usage. So you could limit the bandwidth, and what it would do is limit the video quality. So your video quality might not be great, but then it might help with the transmission and whether or not you're getting kicked off and things like that. There's a little slider, so it's limit bandwidth or adjust bandwidth usage.
Yeah, it looks like little pan pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And Edri was saying she doesn't know how to get audio. That also up there is your audio icon, and it might be muted.
Mm-hmm. I just saw it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need it, but any technical thing that y'all can help me with is always good.
Yeah. So it's hidden most of the time, so you have to hover over it. At least in my interface, although there's some kind of bandwidth issue right now where I don't actually see the icons. I just see this, you know, other stuff. And the other thing that for me, for headphones, you often have to adjust what the output is. So when you click on the microphone thing, you may be able to, you can usually adjust which thing is which thing is producing the noise and which thing is taking your voice as well.
Yeah, the playback and the record. Yeah.
Yeah. Initially,
when you set up your microphone, that's the other thing. Did you get on mic, Edry? No. Oh, I don't know where to plug in my mic. Oh, not muted. I don't have an Apple monitor anymore. Okay. Usually it's a little right on the side. There's a little mini plug outlet. Anyway, sorry you're having trouble with that. You don't have an Apple monitor anymore. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it should be a little mini plug. But usually I don't have anything plugged in, and I don't have any outside noise, so you can also just use the built-in mic. So it might be that your system is. Oh, Kathy's going to give you some chatting advice. Okay, good. Well, let's open up to other questions. And thanks, Kathy, for helping Edry. Other questions or issues or places people are stuck, or any link you'd like us to go look at, give you ideas.
I have a question. In the speaker's world, like all worlds, there are popular topics, popular themes. What are you finding in your own communities that is popular right now and people are demanding speakers for? Have you changed, Carla, some of your content to adapt to that? Are you creating new speeches to speak to that, and what would those themes be?
Yeah. Well, I used to change a lot, and then I found that didn't work for me, because then I was only this deep of an expert instead of this deep. So I tried to pick timeless topics like how to flow with change, because we all have to constantly do that the rest of our life. But sometimes I would switch up markets. So certain markets stopped having any funds for speakers, so then I would switch to a market that did have funds for speakers, for example. But I know trending topics right now are, it depends on your marketplace. When I'm thinking of you, Jana, and your background as a media trainer, and with your strong background in having, been a celebrity interviewer and all, what I'm finding is, in the world of helping entrepreneurs, the things that really help are kind of like what Kathy was saying, helping engagement, helping anything using technology, helping I don't know if you thought of this, but all entrepreneurs need to be, as Sue's talking about, out there more on audio, on video, and having a presence out there, and they all seem to need help with that, because it's one thing to be an expert and it's another to be engaging with technology. It's a totally different game, and you've spent decades perfecting that ability. So that's like one thing that I think would be super popular with what you do, but others might have some ideas as well.
So you're saying that the trending topic that you see right now is around engagement, and whether that means engagement through audio or video or copy. It's about, for me, and this is something that Nathan said, I'm working on this idea of connection, just connection. Yeah. It's this essence, sort of an overarching thing. How do we connect? Why do we connect? And are we really connecting?
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I think it's a common theme, because I'm sort of on about that as well, and I think it's probably because of the fact that, yes, as you were saying, technology is often, it helps us connect, and it's isolating as well. The other thing is that it's hard for people to understand exactly how to use these technologies to really make a connection. There's all this talk about using, your social media programs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, there have been social media engagement specialists and things, or social media specialists. Mm-hmm. But if you look at a lot of blog posts and Twitter feeds, and a lot of it's somewhat mechanical, people have this formula, and it's really, if you're a reasonably savvy person and you're paying attention, you know what a BuzzFeed link looks like, right? You know, there's a certain protocol for creating these things. And if you've got a skeptical audience or an audience that is evaluating what you have to say, then it's tricky to create that kind of, create engagement while engaging in this sort of formula, right? And so, and people want real connection, and actually that seems to be something that's coming through at these other things that I've been involved with, or the other conversations I've been having. It's there, technology is mediating a lot of our engagement, but learning how to really connect on a human level and also to make ourselves vulnerable to each other via technology is really difficult.
You're absolutely right, and that's the premise of what I'm doing, because I think most folks haven't realized that marketing has flipped around 180 degrees in the last 10, 15 years, and now it really is about marketing you. So it's not your business. They buy you first. So you have to present yourself, and as you say, your vulnerability, your story, and your gifts in a very inspirational but systematized way, because you can't just go wander. It is marketing you and your story. And I think you're absolutely right there, Catherine.
Can I ask one more question to the group about this vulnerability? Is that okay, Carla?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay, because this is what I see now as being exploited, because people sense that they're missing a vulnerability or an authenticity, and now most of the speakers that I see on webinars are like, training you to be an expert, training your expertise, and you're needed in the world, and you're specific, and I really feel this appeal to their audience is
1:45.
Is exploitive in some ways. It's actually appealing to people's egos that they're special and the world's waiting for my message, and it lacks, to me, and certainly some of the marketing that I've seen, a sense of real service and real vulnerability. It's almost like, oh, I had my down and out story and I was on the street. Everyone from Neil Diamond Walsh to, Ryan Eliason, who I studied with. I hit the wall here and then I turned right and I saw the big meadow open up and I realized, it just, for me, again, it's getting a little evangelical, and it lacks a certain sense of truth to me. Does anyone else feel that?
Yes.
I totally feel that way. And in the workplace, you hear all these stories of people who were, big names. Like I think of Arianna Huffington, and it's great what she did with her book called Thrive. But she pushed herself to the point of burnout and fell over and ended up in ER, and then had this epiphany that, gee, we shouldn't work like this. And it's to take that, that kind of accident for a lot of senior people to get that this is not, this is not how we should live. And then they write a book, and there's, information that comes up, but they're not really experts in better workplaces or, creating healthy cultures. And so I totally understand what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe part of the issue is it's good to share your story, because that's part of what we need to do. But I think part of the disconnect is not necessarily understanding how to translate your epiphany into actual action. And there's a lot of tendency for people to latch on to a particular solution, whatever solution what worked for them. So it might be the paleo diet, or it might be emotional freedom technique, or it might be a particular way of communicating, right? Or framing thing. And so what ends up happening is you have this inspirational story attached to one technique, but there's not perspective.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is that people often you can tell when someone is acting, telling the story of their vulnerability versus actually letting themselves be vulnerable, because they're two different things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's an interesting interview on the TED.com site with Brene Brown and her whole vulnerability talk, and how she felt like, she said 2010 was the year of the vulnerability talk, and then 2011 was the year of actually having to walk the talk, because she got this intense barrage of criticism and adulation, and she was completely unwilling to be vulnerable around it because it was such overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's one of the best TEDs, isn't it? It's a great TED.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
But to come back, I mean, for me, there is only one story. Well, there's a couple of stories, but the main story in life is, you know, the hero journey. And, you know, I love Joseph Campbell. His books are up there, and they're all kind of thumbed. But so the hero journey is the story. It doesn't matter if it's Lord of the Rings or Hercules. And that's the story that resonates, which is why this Mess to Success and Slaying the Dragons is the story that most folks kind of use as a foundation, because it does resonate. And I know what you're saying about, you know, some folks not looking authentic, but it's still the prime story that motivates us. And, you know, you've got to go happy off into the sunset. If you kind of die at the end, we don't like that story. So it really is a Mess to Success story that everybody, that's the main story of humans. I don't know why, but it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to, okay. One of the things that, at this event that I went to recently, it was about performance, and in the performance in the service of giving a speech. And the interesting point that I got was, in fact, that an actor, if you're an actor, the actor's craft, part of it is to make, rather, it's not an artifice, it's a kind of craft that you use in order to make yourself vulnerable on stage so people can see that vulnerability. You are raw. If you're doing it well, you are raw and on stage, and and it's very traumatizing, but you have to do it from some kind of a safe place, right? You have to learn to do it from a safe place, but it's a craft of opening yourself up. And so maybe part of that is missing, where people don't recognize that you know, giving a speech is in fact a process of opening yourself up to the audience, like really opening yourself up. And it's something you just have to revisit your assumptions each time, all the time, in order to really feel it. Like, or you always have to question the assumption that you are being vulnerable on stage, because you may not be. You may be masking up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an energy.
And the minute you're scared to death, that's when you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I've seen people who had their story, and they're very vulnerable, and they're very present, and then I've seen them at another event tell the exact same story, and they're not vulnerable. They're having a bad day, and they're feeling protective. And so they don't, you know, the energy's not there. And I know I've certainly had that experience myself, where I just felt like one day I connected so much with my audience, with my story, and then another day they're completely not with me. Yeah. And you have to feel safe enough to be vulnerable.
What do you do in those situations, Carla, when you recognize that you're phoning it in to a certain extent, that you're, you know, like that it's, what do you do to bring yourself into the present moment to re-engage with your audience? What are your techniques?
Well, the thing that's worked for me in the past, I have to get present. You know, everyone says, oh, get present. But for me, I have to stop and breathe. I have to stop and breathe. And I actually put on my outline, stop, like pause, like in really big letters. Because otherwise, if I'm talking fast and I'm going really fast, I know that I've lost my presence and I'm just in my head. And then what I try to do is I look at somebody, like really look at somebody in the audience. I really look at people and just land with them. And then you can usually get it back. But some days I'm not willing, you know. And then afterwards I just think, you know, I think we all have those times, you know, you're just not feeling grounded enough. So the more tricks, the better.
Yeah. I think one of the things that is helpful, and this is from my my science demo days, is that if you engage with your audience early before your talk, if you can, that often helps, because then you have a personal connection with somebody, you know, or somebody. So it doesn't have to be like a conversation. It can just be a look, you know, the little eyebrow raise thing.
Yeah, I always talk to a few people in the audience ahead of time and just create some connection, and then I start my talk and I look at them because I feel safe with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any tips for authenticity? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing is also being able to engage after, because I've brought some speakers into the conference I used to run where they're completely engaging on stage and mesmerizing, and then the minute they get off stage, they're closed down, and you know there isn't that opportunity for people to come up and really engage and have that one-on-one. They've just sort of put all the energy into that stage presence, and then you know they walk off the stage and it's totally different. It's kind of interesting to see. So I think that's really important to you know, to remember that and to be able to have that engagement afterwards, to you know, to stick around.
Keep on giving. Keep on giving to the audience.
Yeah, don't use all your energy on stage.
Yeah, well, and that's an issue for some speakers. They're great one-on-many, but they actually don't have any facility one-on-one. So I actually know an expert, and they help people who don't know how to do that. There's a niche.
What dragons did he slay?
But I agree with your point, Sue, that the hero's journey story is the one that's psychologically very satisfying to people, and the trick would be definitely to just be real in your story. Like, some people think that you have to pretend like you're like all perfect on whatever your story was about by the time it's over, like I've got this handled, and you know that's usually not true. And in fact, there's an old theory that, you know, you're teaching what you most need to learn. You're often, you know, your topic that you're most attracted to is in some way an evolutionary need, that you have a certain level of proficiency in it, but you're not like completely handled with it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so fascinated by it and wanting to study it.
Yeah, get out of the puddle, get up.
Yeah. You know, like for me, I'm teaching speaking, and speaking was one of the hardest things for me ever. I was a total introvert and horribly shy, and I had a speech impediment, and I was dyslexic. And so for me to get on stage was one of the best things that I could do to get over all that. And so I know how to bridge the gap between people who don't know how to do that and want to get there. I wasn't one of those people that was born, you know, da-da-da-da-da, you know, like I'm just totally there, right? And in a way that makes me a better teacher, because I can take people from where they weren't to where they need to go in a way that sometimes people who are just naturally at it, they don't know how to teach somebody to get there. So if you can be honest with that and just say, you know, I'm not perfect at this, I'm on my journey with it. Sometimes I think that seems to help a sense of vulnerability and authenticity for people. What do you guys think about that?
I agree. I find that in teaching, because that's what I do, I work one-on-one with clients, I find that if I am having a conversation with them, and if I'm having a conversation with a group of people or presenting, that if I talk about this was hard for me, and this is how I dealt with it, and this is how I'm still dealing with it, so that if I talk to somebody else from Texas, any way of speaking well is gone. I am back to my Texas accent again, so that getting someone to understand that it's okay not to be perfect, and the fact that that is a special thing to be strong and not perfect, that is very, very helpful to many people, and it maintains a vulnerability with an audience, because then you're not the great guru in the sky.
Yeah, and there's that balance, though. Sometimes I've seen people go the other way, and they're like all vulnerability and no credibility. So as you're saying, yeah, and you got to have a bit of both. They just say, you know, no, I'm a big mess on all this, and let me tell you. And then everybody's kind of going, well, why would I want to learn from you?
Exactly.
So you're trying to find that balance of both. It's a tricky razor's edge.
I was going to say to Sue when she talked about the hero's journey and that's what we're all on and that's the classic metaphor. I don't know. With all due respect to Nathan being the only guy here, I think that's still a male model of slaying the dragons. In a way, I feel a little bit like it's more like seducing the dragons or making friends with the dragons or teaching the dragons how to play. You know, because I still have my dragons. Like, I may have, tried to kill them, and then they're just like, we're immortal. So I just think there's more of a sense of making them allies and using that power and rechanneling the fear or the sense of perfection. You know, that dragons worry about their breath. You know, I don't like even dragons have some issues. You know.
But that's all part of the story, Jana. I mean, what you're saying is gorgeous. That's a fantastic presentation, right? But it still comes down to the basic tenet of the journey, the hero journey. And, I mean, slaying dragons is very metaphorical. It means that you are moving down a path and you are overcoming challenges which you want to overcome. And it doesn't matter how big or small the challenges are. They're sitting there for you to move beyond. And so I don't think it's a sexist thing. I think it's a universal story. And everyone has a different slant on it. And you know what you were just saying. I mean, that's gorgeous. You stand up and say that, and everyone's saying, yeah, you know.
Well, I heard an interesting interview with Jean Houston where she talked about, she was friends with Joseph Campbell, and she, for those of you that know Jean Houston, she's been around for 40 years in the personal growth movement, and she said that he did say that he doesn't talk about the male journey because he feels like childbirth is for women their mythic journey. And so Jean Houston said, well, some women don't have babies, so what do they do? And so she went down the road of the whole idea, say in The Wizard of Oz, her journey is kind of, and she wrote a book called The Wizard of Us, and talked about that sometimes the female journey might be more, she didn't kill the witch, but out of compassion, she took the water to put the fire out on the scarecrow and melted the witch. And so sometimes it's that whole metaphor of killing with kindness or your compassion melting the obstacles towards your journey. So it might just look different, but you're still in a way slaying a dragon like you're saying, Sue, but it's maybe a different methodology as a female.
I love the image of making friends with the dragon, because the dragon's going to be there no matter what you do. So making friends with the dragon or collaborating with the dragon, being strong enough to talk back to the dragon occasionally, seems to me a richer way of dealing with the world, or at least it is for me. I won't like for anybody else.
I like the image of the dragon curled up in my lap.
Hey, that would be an interesting logo.
What were your favorite pants, though?
So, other questions or issues or problems people are dealing with right now?
I have a question about the whole sort of approaching folks for speaking gigs and things like that. Because it's, how do you know, or how do you have a sense of whether or not they are paid speaking opportunities or unpaid before, when you approach, like?
Yeah, that can be tricky to find out, especially if it's a new event. If it's an event that's gone on before, you can go to the last year's event site and see. Sometimes they'll actually post on their website, what they pay people, whether they expect people to speak for free on their call for proposals. But sometimes you can see, and you'll see that they have speakers that are generally paid, so you can see who's their top sort of lead speaker, their keynote speaker. And then what I do is I type the person's name in, the speaker's name, and speaker bureau, and
okay.
They're in a speaker bureau and what their general fee is. And if I see they're kind of in the same range as me and they're a similar speaker to me, complementary topic or similar topic, then I say, I noticed you had so-and-so last year. Like I know you had Dr. Janet Lapp last year, and I also speak on that similar topic, slightly different, and then that's how I do it. Now, sometimes they still come back and say, oh, well, Janet Lapp did it for free. But, mostly if generally paid speakers are speaking at an event, then they do pay.
Yeah, it seems. Yes, because a lot of these things are put on by associations, and a lot of times associations draw from their membership for basically free speaking gigs.
Yeah, so there's different types of speakers. So there's the industry folks that are just doing it to give back to their association or to get known and to get clients. But usually people who are going to be a keynoter, if they're smart meeting planners, they want to hire a professional because, you want someone who's really knows how to engage a crowd and is very good with their stories and is really has really considered this as not just something they're going to slap together the night before, because that can make delegates not want to come back next year. And we've all been to those events. And Deb's been a meeting planner and knows, like I know sometimes you can get paid speakers to speak for free or for nothing, but not very often. But you do want someone who's going to be really good to kick things off, otherwise.
And you get what you pay for, I find like even when you look at the range, and if you think someone is a little bit, like I'll often think, oh, that's a little less than I normally pay, are they really going to be good enough? Like so you question, based on what people tell you they pay. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's another reason not to underprice yourself, because it will make meeting planners go, oh, they must not be very good. Now, if you're still, building your craft, then maybe that's okay, and you just want the chance to get in front of more audiences, and sometimes the lower your fee, the more speaking opportunities you're going to get. But at a certain point, if you're really good, don't underprice yourself, because you're doing yourself a disservice. Good question. Okay, well, we have time for one more question. How about those of you who haven't said much? Like Denise and Linda, I don't know if Edri's still there, or some of the others who haven't asked questions. Anyone?
Well, I'm just hanging in here, Carla, because I'm just finishing Module 2. I've had a whole bunch of stuff. I've been out of town and stuff, so I'm mostly taking notes and listening and learning. Okay,
that's all right. I just wanted to, as an introvert myself, I notice we have some chatting on the side about introversion. Sometimes I need a little space in the conversation to come forth, so I'm just creating a little space in case someone does have something. And you might not, and that's okay. Okay, any last questions, comments, insights, witty remarks to be made?
I'm just very happy about the conversation about stories, because it really helped to inspire me with this website that I'm launching, and I think I've totally changed my about page to my story now, and while we've been talking. So thank you for the inspiration.
Yes, I notice if I read an about page that's got a story, I'll read the whole thing. If it's just a bunch of facts, I get bored and go away. Yeah. So that's something for everyone to think about, is put a story in your, also like your LinkedIn profiles and anywhere you can put like a fairly long profile, put your story in.
I have, Linda, can you hear me?
Who does that, has your story on your about page or your profile?
I do. I have a combination of my story and third-person reporting.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, like a combo. It wouldn't be like a whole story, the whole thing, but yeah, a combo.
I'm rewriting my bio right now for that very reason. I'm a business coach, and she said, boy, if this thing gets any drier, it's going to fall off the screen. Okay, well, That has to be redone. There's no two ways about it. And
But Betty, yeah.
You're a storyteller, Betty Ann, so tell stories.
Well, and also,
sorry, I keep butting in.
Go ahead,
That's my trouble. Right, just saying, it's worth going back and looking at your story quite frequently because it does change as you grow, and then rework it for where you are now.
yeah. And also, especially someone like you, Betty Ann, that's, you're a character. You're like big energy, and sometimes I've had branding people say that to me. They go, "Oh, like you're you're a bit of a character, but your profile doesn't show that." Yeah. So put that into your profile.
That's why the rewriting is happening.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Well, I know we have busy lives and many things to rush off and do, but I really appreciate everyone taking the time today and to support each other and to come forward with your ideas and your issues because it makes a difference. So thank you, and until next time, any last words?
Yeah, Carl, I just want to, maybe I'm speaking for everyone, but I just want to express my gratitude for creating opportunities for us to contradict our isolation. It's very powerful.
Good. Good, yeah. Me too.
Great praise. Keep that.
Yeah.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Well, there'll be more of these, so keep posted. And hopefully all of you are in the Presentation Prosperity Facebook group, and I post a lot of stuff in there. And feel free to post your queries and ideas and keep the conversation going there, because that's what that is for.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
All right. Good.
Thanks a lot, Carla.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Good meeting you all. Good to see you, Nathan.
Good to talk.
Deb.